everyone. Welcome back to Read the Room podcast. As always, I'm Mer.
Hi, this is Ambria.
Thank y'all for tuning in today.
We're very grateful that you're here.
We're going to go ahead and dive in. So last time we were with you guys, we talked about allies and allyship and the difference between POC and, referring to someone as black and how they're not always one and the same.
They're never one and the same, basically.
Right. They carry different struggles and we should refer to them as such.
Yes. Got a little passionate, but that's good.
Yeah, I did, but...
Well, in general, that's good. I don't know. We've talked about this. I found that it was interesting for me because as we're having this discussion on our own podcast, in our own space, I had to think, okay, well, can I say that? Because what if someone in my job sees it or something like that? So just even having to censor my feelings in general is just like...
Right.
A consideration.
Right. I think that has a lot to do with your profession because I'm just like, I don't care. Like the line said, we have a lot to be mad about.
We do.
So
we really do. Yeah.
I don't care how politically incorrect. I don't care how I sound. If I have something to say, I'm going to say it. Whether or not you listen to me, that's your business.
Yeah. Well, you just have to think twice. But yeah.
So kind of on the same gear, today we're going to talk more about, the Black community, Black inclusivity, and just... being Black. Period.
Yeah, so we talked about, last time we talked about being an ally of the Black community, and now we're going to talk about the Black community itself because we have such beautiful culture and beautiful people, and it's great, and we also have to acknowledge that there are things as a community that we can work on ourselves. So we just want to explain that if your pro-Blackness doesn't include certain groups, then really it's not pro-Black.
Right. You can't just be like, I'm Black Lives Matter, but only the Black lives that look like me. That grew up in the same financial situations as me. No, it has to span like every part of the Black diaspora, honestly, because Black people are not a monolith. So you have to, if you say you're going to be pro-Black, all Black lives or Black Lives Matter, you got to talk about the straight Blacks, Yeah,
we have our list. Okay, if your pro-Blackness is homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, sexist, colorist, elitist, it's not pro-Black. So, like you said, all Black Lives Matter. I actually saw that in somebody's bio, Missy. I seen it in your bio. All Black Lives Matter. Okay, so...
And that's a period at the end. Ain't no comma, ain't no semicolon, it's a period.
Hurry up.
And if you got anything to add, let's go ahead and stop talking because you're not pro-Black.
or if you want to add something, I had seen, I went on Twitter and I typed in, if you're pro-Blackness, and it was people who were going in, like, if your pro-Blackness doesn't include Afro-Latinos, or if it doesn't include, like, gender non-binary people, like...
Or even people with disabilities,
all that.
Everybody that considers themselves to be Black, you have to include them in your... All Black Lives Matters.
Yes. Period. I think our generation is getting a little bit better about the LGBT community, but I think that past generations were really terrible about it, and I think that of course our generation still has work to do on it. Of course, I'm no expert in the area, but I think...
Yeah, I'm not an expert at all, but I love all my gays, my queers, my non-binaries, love you all. And I think that's definitely something that we want to bring to light on the show a little bit later on when we can have people
we want to have some guests
speak to those who come straight from those communities who, know the struggle day in and day out. So it's definitely something we want to reserve for later, but they're definitely included. But on that same note, I think we can speak to other parts of all Black Lives Matters, in particular the elitism, and then also the colorist aspect as well.
So we're going to dive a little deeper into those today. Okay, so elitism in the Black community, it's bad.
It's bad.
I feel like it, so if anyone doesn't use the term elitism, it's just basically setting a certain hierarchy, like, I'm better than you because I have X, Y, and Z, whether it be money or education or, I don't know, opportunities, whatever. It's just putting someone on a pedestal for a particular reason and looking down on other people. And I think, I am no historian, but I feel like elitism might be a result of just the state of Black people in this country. Like, we've had it pretty hard. So when people get something, they're like, look at what I got. You don't even got this. You ain't even, it's just a sense of like, okay, let me be proud of what I have. But then you can be proud of what you have without looking down on other people.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it goes way back to the, overall history of Black people in this country. But I think two people I think kind of represent this best is W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, because W.E.B. was more on like that education side of things, and Booker T. was more on like the trade side of things. And I think when you think about it in that perspective, people who are elitists are going to be like, because I have this degree, I'm better than you because all you do is this particular
trade. So you think that it comes from,
you
think it comes from like the history of, we work so hard to even be able to get X, like to get an education and to be in these certain fields, to the extent that now it's used as a badge of pride, but for anyone,
a standard, which it's not.
Let's talk about that. Okay, so as far as education go, there's this big argument that I feel like is always running through the Black community, which is college versus no college. What's your stance on the college?
I'm kind of in the middle because I see it both ways. I think college is a waste of time, and I also think it's a great time.
And a great time.
It is. I think
Explain it.
I think it's a waste of time because some of the things that I learned in college, I'm like, what does this have to do with what I am here for?
Yes.
Like how at DePaul we had to take those number one, those science requirements. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. And then also we had to take the religion class, which is like, I didn't get that at all because it didn't really speak to my actual degree that I was there for.
Okay.
I mean, I guess, it works to kind of make you like a well-rounded individual, but I think it's a waste of time. And like some of those classes we don't need to take, you guys are just taking our money.
Okay, so you think
quicker.
So and I feel like that about law school. I'll talk about it in a second. But so you think that college could be shorter, that it doesn't need to. Sure. So would you get rid of general education classes?
I would.
Okay, so then, if you do that, at that point, does it mean that you need to leave high school knowing what you want to do? Because if I'm going to think about, like, what is the benefit in having gen ed classes, it could be exposure. Because what if you come from a household where you don't know about finance people and this and the other? So it's kind of a 2-year period for you to figure out what you want to do, what you might want to do. Because I know that at 18 years old, I wasn't for certain what I wanted to do ultimately.
At this age, I'm still not. So, but I think with gen ed classes, it's classes that they're forcing you to take. You don't have an option. Yes. So I don't think you're necessarily going to have your big break and find out, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do. That's what your electives are there for. Electives gives you a wider range of things to choose from. You can figure out through elective classes like, okay, maybe I want to take this. But those gen ed requirement, I'm just like, can we kind of get that out of there? Maybe even put it more electives if you want to. Like, that'll be more enriching and more useful, I think, in my opinion. So that's when it comes in for me that it's a waste of time.
Okay, I think I agree that you spend a lot. I don't know, you waste a lot of time on classes that you don't care about. Yeah. But I feel like there's something to be said about those years between high school and college that are developmentally. I think that college is a good place to be.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, going straight from high school into adulthood, I feel like that's kind of extreme. So I wish college was free. If college was free, then it would be...
It would take a whole lot of stress off.
It would take a lot of stress, and then that would give people an opportunity between adolescence, really, in high school to adulthood, just like ease you into it. I had just made a tweet about that the other day. I feel like college is adulthood with the training wheels still on. But then you're getting into a bunch of debt at the same time. Yeah. So
at 18 years old, you're already... $30,000-$50,000 in the hole. That's just not productive all. And most of the times I hear horror stories all the time or I read them, and I pray to God this is not me. But when people are like, I've been paying all my student loans for 7 years and I owe more than what I actually borrowed.
Oh, that's
just like,
well, interest.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, they can take out those requirements.
Oh, you're saying because that's a very good point because I'm paying to learn some stuff that does not have to do with what I
Exactly. Okay. So I don't necessarily find that part of college useful. But then on the other hand, I think college, at least for me, was one of the only the only option I had at the time. And I say that because, like you said, you're 18. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Yeah. So I had to have school as like my plan, even if it ends up being like a backup plan.
Some people use it that way.
Yeah, even if it ends up being a backup plan down the line, at least I have something. Yeah. To me, you know. That's considered useful in this society.
I think, and that's a low-key sad truth, but like a good truth at the same time. Yeah. I don't know, I feel like sometimes people do use school as just I don't know what I'm gonna do, so let me just do school. Some people are like, okay, I'm done with college and I'm not sure what I want to do, so let me go get a master's and then let me go get a PhD, you know. Yeah, some people use it as I don't know. My opinion about school is I wish it wasn't so necessary. Yeah. I wish that jobs weren't so tied to it, because say I wanted to be an engineer. My parents really, really wanted me to be an engineer. Sorry, I let y'all down. But say I wanted to be an engineer and I'm taking these classes and then I go and work at this super specific company. I'm learning on the job. Mm-hmm. So really you requiring my degree has nothing to do with the knowledge that I got in the classroom. It's literally just checking off a box. And just like everything else in America, where they're making it more and more like inaccessible for people. It's like, okay, well, now Black people are getting jobs. Let's require a degree. And then let's require a master's. It's really about making things inaccessible to people. Because y'all didn't learn about that in the classroom. Stop acting like you ain't learned it on the job. You did. But for, I don't know, college is cool.
Like I said, it's a backup plan for most people to end up not even using the degrees, going a completely different way than the degrees. And like you mentioned, you learn on the job. One of the VP of my department at my job, when I was actually going for the interview for my job, and they were just kind of explaining the role, doing the whole whoop blah. She was basically saying, because it's like a developmental program until you get into like the next steps or whatever, but she was saying that like we have this program because you guys are coming straight out of college, you guys don't know anything. So they know that. Yeah. They know that. So why do you require me to have a degree?
Literally just...
If I'm going to be learning on the job.
All it is to cut off a certain group of people from being able to even apply for the job or feeling like they could get the job. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. But I will say, though, that my college years, I learned some invaluable lessons. Like, just as an adult about other humans. Like, I learned so much in college, but I don't even remember what I was doing in the classroom. Like, there's things that I know that I learned in class, but it's like, I was just learning so much about myself as a young adult during that time. And I'm glad that I had the space to do that, because if it was like super femme for myself, like I might be a different person. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But to the elitism of it all, though, I don't think that whether you have a degree or not should be something that you tout over other people. You can be proud of your education, but if your sentiment is like ours, like I don't even remember what I was doing in the classroom, then you shouldn't be like, I got a degree and you didn't even...
You don't know what you was learning, so that degree don't mean nothing.
People might be listening to this like, I loved my... Perhaps you did. I don't know. I was in the business school and I learned so much and I'm grateful for that knowledge, but I did a lot of other stuff too that's like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, when I talk about college, I'm like, oh man, it's never, oh man, that marketing 302 class was so I learned. It's always like, dang, remember that one time we went to the club, we went, we did in the dorm. Remember when I learned that? That's all I remember from college.
It's a lot of life lessons, not like...
Anytime I have to remember what I actually learned in college is when I'm doing my resume. And my cover letters, trying to figure out, girl, I know this. I know what they're talking about. So it's always like a what's it called? Not a forethought. What's the one before that? It's an afterthought. It's always an afterthought. So it's not always at the front of my mind. So that's why when people are, especially people in our community, are always like, God, I went to college. It's just kind of like, okay, cool. You did something that millions of other people do every year.
Yeah, but there's also something to be said about the fact that like we didn't have access to an education for a long time, and like some of our like my parents didn't go to college, so they saw college as such a thing to do. Like it was huge, and I'm glad that I could do that. Separate from that conversation, though, when we talk about the nitty gritty of it all, I learned more lessons just about myself as a human than I cared about in the classroom. And also what happened in the college classroom and your grades and things don't necessarily determine your future.
Exactly.
I took business law. I got like a C, and I was not that. I wasn't like
when I tell you I took that class, I literally emailed the professor. I was like, please give me a B. I don't know what is going on. And he gave me the B.
Okay, well, I didn't
know any. When I tell you I didn't know anything about contract law, business law,
bro, I should have did the same thing.
That's exactly
I got
what I
a C,
did,
honey, and I was like, this is gonna look terrible. Law schools are gonna see this and be like, she is not cut out. It worked out for me, but like, imagine I stopped there,
right?
Or like, not where I'm at right now.
Exactly. So some of them classes I really have to be like, sis. It ain't clicking, but I need to pass this class.
Please. No, yeah. So, to anyone...
actually, before we go on to the next one, but I think this spring... Remember the boy on Instagram, the law school boy?
Who had stole all the money?
No, that's...
okay, so you're talking... That's elitism 101. Okay, so
and he comes from a generation of lawyers.
I got opinions about that too. Okay,
let's see.
Okay, so there was this boy, and he had went on Instagram or Twitter or something,
on Instagram.
And he basically was dragging other black men, basically.
No, he was dragging
black women. But he was trying to set himself above other black men. Right. So he was like, this, that, and the third, because I went to law school and I'm not in the system and I don't got no baby mamas, but y'all not checking for me?
Yeah.
Honey.
Everybody was like, girl, you just graduated law school. That's huge. Celebrate that. But instead you're like, but y'all black men only like to date.
He was,
are you okay?
Yeah.
That's what I didn't get. I was like, okay, I was reading. I was like, wait. Now, when did this become about black women? This is about you, bro. This is your day. You spent 3 years, however many years you spent in law school, doing whatever the hell y'all do in law school. And this is
grinding, honey, grinding. If at that point, if what makes you most proud about your proudest moment is the fact that you can basically shit on other people, there's something wrong. There's a disconnect. Yeah. That's elitism right there. Like, okay, the reason I got this degree is so that I can remind y'all that I got it, but the dude that you like got a baby mama, and he been in the system.
And there's a little bit of nepotism in that too, because he comes from a line of lawyers, and his father owns a law firm, he probably got a job. And the icing on the cake on this dude is that he failed the bar, which is nothing to laugh at, but for you to do that and then you fail the bar. A kiki.
God don't like ugly, honey, because he said, "Oh, you thought," and then his twin brother passed. His twin brother's probably so sweet.
Like that dude was quiet. I went on his. He
was peaceful and nice and not bothering nobody.
So, more of the story is gonna be elitist.
Don't be,
It's gonna come back to me.
And you can be proud of yourself. There's a difference between being proud of yourself and trying to say, I'm better than you because I have X, Y, and Z. You chose that. Like, you wanted to go to law school or to college or whatever. Live in that. Be happy about that. Yeah. What does that have to do with the next person who did not choose to go down that path?
It doesn't have nothing to do with nobody else.
Nothing at all.
And that's when the whole elitism thing gets weird.
Yes. Okay, so economic elitism. So separate from the conversation about whether you are educated or not or whatever, there's hand in hand the conversation about whether you have money or not. I think that's
all about the Benjamins, baby.
I think that's terrible too.
Yeah, all elitism is terrible. Yeah, this is outside of like the college is college. I think economic one is even worse because it's coming from people that look like you.
Explain him.
Because let's say like someone is like in I don't know, they beat the odds or whatever, they become a CEO of the company, just for example. They're making all this money and then all of a sudden they turn their nose down on people like you.
Yeah.
And this is the type of, environment that this person comes up. So that gives you a sense of hope. But then to hear someone that comes from a situation like you look down on you because of the situation that you're in.
Yeah. Definition of forgot where you came from. I think that people need to remember what their own circumstances were like coming up, remember where their head was, what they aspired to, and then try and be a helping hand to the next person. Like, it's really not that difficult. It's not that hard to just choose to help someone. And maybe maybe you weren't built like that, but then you probably shouldn't be built like looking down on people either. Yeah. Like you're either interested in other humans and their growth and development, or you're not. So, I don't know.
I also think some of that economic elitism also comes from A, wanting to keep up with the Joneses, and B, kind of that proximity to whiteness. Because when we think of whiteness, we think of, economic security, educational backgrounds and things like that. So when people get to that certain level, they try to distance themselves from people that is in their community, in their culture, class, whatever the case may be. Try to distance themselves because they don't want to be seen as that. And a lot of it falls into like the ghetto, the food stamps, that type of
They want situation. To be like, hey, I'm not black, but I am the superior, Wow.
And it's corny. It's corny.
Okay, and then that's why black women don't want to be with that kind of man. Okay, so people love to, like that guy who went to law school who made the post like, black women don't want me. No, we can sense that you don't want to be a part of the community. We can sense that you see yourself as better than us. And that's corny. And so we're not interested in it. Like, that's the reason we're not interested in you. It has nothing to do with your accolades, because we can be proud of you too. We can celebrate you too. But it's like,
no one wants an arrogant dude.
No one wants someone who's arrogant and just disconnected from the community. We've had this conversation so many times. Like, I can't rock with somebody who is just I'm better than, and that's not relatable. So don't think that because you have a degree that black women don't want you. It's the corniness, baby boo.
Right. And also when you're thinking about where you are financially and like the people below you, think about where that is coming from. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's coming from internally rooted like anti-blackness. I feel like you can have an opinion on people within your culture for sure, but then it's the way that you approach it, the way that you go about it, that's going to be a difference between
it's levels.
You have an opinion versus like, you're acting very anti-black.
Yeah, it's levels. It's like, okay, you can point out certain things that we do in our community or certain things that irk you or whatever the case may be, but that is not the same as completely wanting to distance yourself. And trust, we can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. Like,
it's very evident.
Completely.
Yeah.
Okay, in line with economic elitism, I feel like there's this concept of reverse elitism. I just made that up. But it kind of stands for the contention that if you didn't come from a certain economic space, then you are less black. So say, for example, my parents had gone to college and my parents were lawyers, then other black people seeing me and being like, oh, she not really black because she didn't have to struggle or she didn't have X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I don't know, I feel like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I myself have succumbed to that thinking. Like, we just said the guy who went to law school, like, his dad was a lawyer, so he can't even, So I think that we all could work on that. It doesn't make you any less black, but I'll tell you, though, it makes you far more likable if you are in a position like that where your father, for example, is a lawyer and you're not trying to put other people down and you're trying to lift them up. If we saw this story of this man, his dad was a lawyer, and they started a program for law students or something, like, you're using your father as a tool to help more people instead of you looking down. Mm-hmm. But regardless, he's still black, and I think that that's the reminder that I have to tell myself and that we all need to be a little bit better about.
I think also it plays into this idea that we always say that, like, black people are not a monolith. Black people are not a monolith. We come from so many different backgrounds, different situations, that when people are talking about struggle Olympics, they automatically equate that with authenticity and being real.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Even like with rappers, you see a rapper, he's talking about like X, Y, and Z. You find out he grew up in a 2-parent household in the suburbs.
You're like, what? Okay.
Why are you writing about that?
Period.
Yeah. Or if like suburban kids want to be rappers and stuff like that. Mom's like, what?
What are you talking about?
You grew up in this nice house.
But I think that speaks to it, like, okay, there are there's rappers who came from like decent situations and they rap about other things. Yeah. Rap about some other stuff, bro. You could go to college and rap about college. I feel like Femi had made it was one of his verses and he was talking about like, I went to college. Living your truth. Like, that's okay.
That's okay.
You don't gotta be like, I was shooting people up and you were like, at home playing video games, like, dinner for dinner. That's just be authentic. So I think
in your room that has a connected bathroom.
You're in unit, a bathroom. Like, it's okay. So I think that on both ends of the spectrum, just living in your truth. If you didn't have to get every single thing out the mud.
No. It's okay. Honestly, I would like to not get something out the mud. Something to be handed to me. I am open to all blessings at the universe.
I think that
anything.
This sort of reminds me of, and I'm sorry, this reminds me of our conversation about white women and how they want to be oppressed really bad. Yeah, I feel like there are some. I think that being black in this country is enough. Like, just your day-to-day experiences. Say you were the only black person in your neighborhood. That comes with experiences that are probably traumatizing. So live in those. Like, whatever your truth is in this country, it's okay to live in that space. You don't have to pretend that it's anything else because we all have different experiences and different struggles. So we'd like to hear about yours. Right. You know? Like, we heard people talk about shooting. You could talk about what yours was. Just being honest with yourself.
Yeah, being honest with yourself and being open to the black experience being something other than what you know, what you see in the movies, online, social media. Like, there's so many different black experiences.